What's up everyone? My name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm sharing my very first creation with the brand new Castle Estate kit. This kit was released last week, or no, not last week. It was released a couple days ago on Thursday to be exact. And this is my very first build with it. As you can probably tell, maybe not, I'm building in the world of Glimmerbrook, and this is my very first attempt ever of building a castle. I've never built a castle before. I've never built anything like this in my entire life. So this was definitely out of my comfort zone and definitely something new for me. And I had so much fun. Thankfully, I found a picture on Pinterest of this really cute little castle that I could work off of for reference, so that was good. I will say it's not the biggest build, like it's a small castle. It's a cozy, cute, tiny little castle. And I actually turned it into a museum slash library. So you can use it as both or one of those community lots in your game. It functions perfectly as either a museum or a library. So I really wanted to make it a library or a museum at first, but in reality, gameplay wise, I never really use museums. I find them to be a little bit boring. So I wanted there to be something else for this castle. Like I wanted it to be functional as something else as well. So I decided to go for library. I thought those two were a good combination, and I was sure I could come up with something like interior wise for that combo as well. So that's what I did. And I'm just really happy overall with how it came together. And I am really enjoying the Castle Estate kit. I feel like it's a really good kit. When it was first announced, I will say I was a little bit unsure about it. I wasn't really quite sure like what it was going to be. I mean, obviously it was going to be castles, but like I didn't really have because I don't have a lot of experience building castles, it isn't something that I do very often or ever, to be honest. That I just wasn't sure how much I was gonna like it and if it was gonna be good for me. And, I was excited about looking at it and testing it out, but also knowing that it was only gonna be build items and nothing interior wise. I was a little bit unsure. Like I was definitely curious to see what it was going to be about and how it would look in game. And oh my goodness, I am impressed. This stuff looks so good. And now that I have my hands on it, now that I've played around with the kit, I'm actually so happy that they decided to focus on just build items, because that makes it that we have a lot of it. And we also have a lot of swatches for everything. So we have a full set of like exterior stuff for like a castle build. We got a beautiful wallpaper. This brick, the detail on this brick, the quality of it, it is phenomenal. It is so good. There is different swatches that you can kind of combine together. Like there's really clean brick, there's slightly more dirty brick in that same color, and then there is an even dirtier version of that in the same color, and then you can kind of like combine those like versions, if you will, and make it look very weathered or make it look very clean or like combine, so that is really cool. And we have this amazing fence that you can see I'm using on the roof and like on the balconies and stuff like that, like as you would see on a castle. That fence is just really cool. We have spandrels and columns and also a foundation that matches the brick wallpaper, which I'm so thankful that they did that, because that would have been so sad. But we actually have a perfectly matching foundation with it, so that's amazing. We have a beautiful set of doors and windows and archways. Thankfully, they gave us options for all three wall heights. That was something I was slightly worried about. Like, I just wasn't sure what it was going to be, if it was going to be all tall wall height or only like medium wall height, that type of a thing. But we actually have a really good selection of doors and windows for all three wall heights. So I'm really excited about that as well. And the doors and windows and the archways are so detailed and intricate, and maybe it's like annoying at this point, but I'm just very excited about this kit. I feel like it's so well made. The quality is great. Yes, it's a small pack. Kits are really small. There is generally just not a whole lot of stuff in them. That's the whole thing. Like that is what a kit is. But like quality wise, when you just like look at the stuff that we got, I am really excited about it. And it definitely sparked inspiration for me. Cause like I said, I've never really done anything like this. I've never built a castle before. And now I am so motivated, or motivated is not the right word. I'm just feeling very inspired to build these types of things, like more castles, or maybe not even necessarily castles, but just like old estates, like really old, big estates, like family estates, like stuff like that. And I feel like it's just going to be so cool. It's going to be something completely new for me. And I actually found a bunch of pictures on Pinterest and I'm like, this is what I want to build. So I'm not done with this kit yet, but yeah, this is my very first attempt at using it. I was building this live over on Twitch, on my stream, to like kind of just like get to know the kit and like looking at all the items that are in the kit, and just trying to immediately just kind of like come up with a build. And I'm really excited about it. I love the vines on this build, by the way. I was gonna make this build a limited pack build until very early on when I saw those vines. I was like, you know what, let's go. I need to use these purple flowery like vines on the wall. It was just too perfect, and it looked like something from a fairy tale, and it was just so much fun to play around with it. I always struggle a lot with those purple vines, but I feel like on this build it actually came together quite nicely. The window situation for this build was definitely a little bit of a struggle, because obviously I wasn't really quite familiar with the windows in this kit yet, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do like regular angular windows or like the rounded ones. I decided to use mostly the rounded ones. They're so pretty. There's so much detail in those windows. I feel like they're just so well made, and the texture, again, it just matches the brick wallpaper perfectly. And I don't know, I'm very excited about it. And look at that like large front door that I'm using here. It's a tall wall height door, this one, and it's just amazing. My favorite item, I think, is that archway with the like half down gate. That is also, I think we only got that one in the tall wall height, and it's so pretty. Like the details on it, it's amazing. Obviously at the end of the speed build, I will do a little tour of this palace. I was almost gonna say palace. It's not a palace, it's just a little castle in a real time, and we can take a little bit of a better look at the items, like the windows and things. You'll see what I mean. Like it's just so pretty. It's so well made, and I feel like it combines with the base game really nicely. This is again a kit that focuses only on the exterior items. But thankfully, we have a bunch of very like Victorian or just like traditional or old looking furniture pieces in the base game that combine with this perfectly, which that is why I wanted to make this a limited pack build initially. Because we have so many cool base game items to combine. But yeah, then I saw those vines, and then I just kind of went crazy with the interior as well. And it's no longer a limited pack build. I actually use a lot of packs, but it is my intention to also do a just base game and castle estate kit build as well, just to really focus on how well or not, you know, like all this stuff combines, and how well it actually works together. So that is something I also really want to do. If you have any suggestions of things that like builds that you want to see with the Castle Estate kit, please by all means let me know in the comment section down below, because I am looking for more inspiration. As I said, I'm not like super familiar with these types of builds. So it isn't something that just like pops up in my brain, like what I want to build. I actually really have to do like a deep dive on like Pinterest or Google Images to like come up with or like find images that spark inspiration that I kind of want to try to build in The Sims. So if you have any suggestions on things or types of things that you would like to see, let me know, because I'm definitely interested. But yeah, for this little castle, like I said, I turned it into a library/museum, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to turn it into one of those museum castles that you can kind of like visit, but they're still furnished with all the like with the original kitchen and like living room, and you can kind of like visit the rooms, look at the stuff that's in it. And then there's also just a whole bunch of random artifacts and paintings and stuff like that in the castle as well. That is something that I wanted to do. So I basically sort of furnished the castle. We have like a kitchen, for example, that's closed off. You can only look at it. You can't actually go in it. That's something I did gameplay wise because I did not want, like, if you're actually going to use this lot in your game as either a library or a museum, I don't want Sims to randomly start cooking in that kitchen that I created. You know, it's supposed to be like the original medieval, or maybe not medieval, but like, you know, the original old kitchen to the build. Like, you're not gonna have your Sims cook there. We don't want any mac and cheese going on in the beautiful old museum kitchen, you know? So that's why I closed it off with some rope fences. And the same goes, for example, for the bedroom upstairs. There is a small bedroom. I used a bunch of vampires items in there actually, which is also one of the packs that combines really well with this kit. Like a vampire castle is something that I also kind of want to try and do, maybe for Vlad. You know, Vlad at this point I feel like deserves his own castle, and I feel like this kit would work really well with that. But that being said, we have like a bedroom upstairs that you can kind of go into, but then I fenced it off so you can like go through the archway or through the door and like step in and look at stuff, but you can't like actually enter the room. You can't reach the bed or the dresser or the vanity. So that's kind of what I tried to create. But then there's also upstairs, there is like a library section that I kind of wanted to make look like this is the original library or the original study to the castle. So these are the original old bookcases and the original like desks and things. But then at the same time, it also actually functions as like desks with computers and bookcases and a chess table. So you can have a library. So I feel like that is really cool. I think that would be fun to use, like if you're actually playing in Glimmerbrook with a spellcaster sim or what have you. And then I feel like this would be a really cool library that kind of fits the vibes, like the magical, whimsical vibes, you know? So that's what I feel like would work really nicely as well. But for this build, we skipped ahead. You could probably see that we skipped ahead a little bit. I did record, or I did do some landscaping and like details and things off camera because it was taking me a long time. I played around with the terrain tool for this build as well a little bit, as you can probably tell. So the landscaping was a little bit of a struggle sometimes. I had to do a lot of tool mod and just like, you know, placing plants where I wanted them, and it was taking me a long time. So I decided to do a little bit of the landscaping and things off camera, but like I said, after the speed build, we'll do a little tour so you can get a better look at everything. But basically, I wanted to make this look very lush. We have a bunch of landscaping and like plants going on. I did use mostly regular plants from the regular catalog as opposed to the debug menu. Usually I'll pull from debug because, well, I just like the plans better and it's just a habit at this point. Also because it's free. So when you're building a residential, it's nice to have, you know, like free plans so it doesn't add to the value of the house or the cost of the house. For like a library like this, it's not necessarily needed to do that. But yeah, I also with the actual plants from the regular catalog, they snap a little bit better to your manipulated terrain. Usually, like, there'll still be like some floating issues there, but with debug plans, that is way worse. So to make it a little bit easier for myself, I decided to just go with the regular catalog plans. And yeah, so I did that. And then here you can see I'm figuring out the floor plan. It was taking me a hot second. I actually cut out quite a bit of footage of me fiddling around with the floor plan because it was taking me a long time. I had not taken into account the like inside shape. I was just going for exterior whimsical fairy tale castle vibes. That's what I was focusing on. And then when it came to the interior, I basically just, you know, glanced at the shape of it and I was like, yeah, that's going to be a struggle. And it's really not that big. It is like 3 stories, but it's still like not very big. So yeah, I had to like make do with the space that we had. And then here in the off of the front door, essentially we have this like entryway space. So this is more modernized, I guess, where we have this little front desk with a computer that your Sims actually also can't reach, because I don't want any Sims to actually go sit there and use that computer. If it doesn't bother you, then you can obviously go through and just delete the fences or the ropes that I placed, and then your Sims can actually sit there and use the computer. But I didn't really want that to happen, and I also just really liked how that roped fence looked. I thought it was such a cool and realistic thing to have here, so that's what I decided to do. But yeah, basically this entire first room is just a small little entryway, front desk, get your tickets here kind of a situation. And then basically you enter straight into the kitchen, dining, random artifacts area where we also have a bunch of paintings and portraits and things like that. And this kitchen took me a minute because I wanted to make it not necessarily accurate, you know, because medieval, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what is realistic and what's not, but I definitely wanted it to make it like, I wanted to make it old, you know? I wanted to kind of have it pass for a medieval or whatever period comes after kind of a kitchen, you know what I mean? So that is what I tried to do here. I placed a couple stoves. There's no sink in this kitchen, for example, because I felt like that wouldn't make any sense. We have a fireplace in here and this really cool fridge. I never used this fridge from Realm of Magic, but I thought it looked so cool here. I thought it would be such a cool you know, little storage cabinet situation. And we just have this big table with a bunch of random knickknacks in the middle as well. And actually what I found out was that the horse ranch pack is amazing. If you're trying to, I mean, I already knew that, but I mean, it's amazing when you try to combine it with this castle kit. If you wanna, you know, capture the vibes of like an old castle, then Horse Ranch is your friend. It has really, really cool items that just go really nicely with this entire vibe, I feel like. And I was really enjoying it for this one. We just have a bunch of crates and barrels and stuff that I feel like work really nicely with this kit or with this, well, like this castle vibe. So that was something that I figured that that was really cool as well about this kit and how it combines with other packs. So I guess it's not a terrible thing that it ended up not being a limited pack build, because this way I was actually able to, you know, mix and match different packs to see how it works out, I guess. I feel like it's not that bad. So yeah, that was really fun. But let me know, did you get the Castle Estate kit? Are you excited about it? Like, did you, now that we have our hands on it and there is some like content on it, like videos and streams and things and just like Instagram posts with this kit, is it something that you're excited about? Is it something that you are thinking of getting? Let me know in the comment section down below. Speaking of purchasing the Sims 4 expansion packs, thanks to EA, I still have my creator code available, which is a code that you can use when you purchase any The Sims 4 DLC. This is basically just an opportunity to support me as a creator, and using the code on your purchase means that I get a small commission off of your purchase. So how it works is you can use code SimmarySims at checkout in the EA app or on the EA website, and that means that I get a small commission. Now, I do want to say that this is not a discount code, it is just a way to support me as a creator. So again, you can use code SimmarySims at checkout when you purchase any The Sims 4 DLC on the EA app or on the website. Thank you so much to EA for sponsoring this portion of the video. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just really excited about this kit, and like I said, I'm not done with the castle or estate or like fancy house situation era yet. I definitely want to do more builds like this, maybe even something bigger. This was just my I need to get a hang of building castles build, and that's why it's kind of small and not too overwhelming. But now, since I was able to pull this off, I'm like, okay, I could probably try and do like a really big, overwhelming castle. Not anything like Hogwarts, you know, but just like a bigger estate or like a bigger castle with horse stables. That is something that I really wished I had the space for here. This is only a 40 by 30 lot in Glimmerbrook, so I sadly did not have the space for horse stables, but it would have been so fun to like add horses to this. I don't know, but also it's just a museum library thing, so I feel like horses, like stables, wouldn't make too much sense. When I do a residential build with this pack, or with this kit, then horse stables would make a lot more sense. But here you can see I was trying to just fill up this area with random knickknacks. We have a bunch of like entryway tables everywhere, or hallway tables with statues. Base game did really come in handy for that, because base game has a lot of old looking fancy like little statues and things that you would find in a museum, obviously because the museum lot type came with the base game. So they had to give us some stuff in the base game that would make sense in a museum. But it actually really made sense in this build as well. So that was nice. And then here off of the space where the kitchen is, we have a living room space, and I really tried to just make this look very cozy. I did at some point go through and replace this brick or stone wallpaper for an actual wallpaper, like an old looking fancy wallpaper. I think it's from Get Famous. I'll show you at the end of the video again when we do a little tour of the build. So that was something that I really liked. And then we also have this tower, by the way. For this floor, it's not entirely closed off. For the other floors, it is. And we have ladders in the tower going all the way up to the top. So if you want to make it to the top floor rooftop, you're going to have to climb the ladders in the tower to get there, which I think is so cool. I placed a couple of telescopes on the roof as well, so I feel like that is a perfect little activity for your Sims to do on the rooftop, like the telescopes. I used the telescopes from Werewolves because they look really old and weathered, and it was just perfect. But here we have the small living room space. Again, the base game couches were perfect. I used a lot of knights in armor statues. I always forget what the proper term for that is, but I used a bunch of them around here in this entire build. Like there's so many of them. You could go ahead and count them to see how many I placed. I don't actually know, but there is a lot of them because they were so perfect for this build. I had to use them everywhere. But here we have the second floor, and this is where I have the library section and also the bedroom in a little bit here. But this area, I just really wanted to try and make this functional. We don't have a lot of computers. There's only 2 accessible computers in this build. I used the typewriter computers from the, are those from Cottage Living? I think they're from Cottage Living, the typewriter little laptops. You can't really see them because, as you can see, I use these desks. I think those desks are from Get Together, which, by the way, is another pack that combines seamlessly with this type of build. I feel like my next build should be in Windenburg because it'd be so perfect. But yeah, here you can see I placed those typewriter laptops on the desks. You can't really see them that well because of the desk-like little walls going up. I don't really know what else to call it. But they're pretty hidden, so that was actually perfect. And then I actually placed an end table as well with a couple of artifacts and some candles on the desk, and just tried to make it look like it could pass for either a functional library or it could pass for this is what the library used to look like in this castle museum type area. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the middle ground I was searching for. And I feel like it made sense here on the landing or in the library section here. I also had to place a chess table, of course. I was fiddling around with where to place it. I really wanted to place 2, but I don't know, it just wasn't really looking right. I had to place a couple of armchairs as well to have it be functional for or as a library. So I went ahead and did that instead, and we only have 1 chess table. We have a second chess table on the 3rd floor, which is where we have like it's not necessarily an attic, but it's a really small like 3rd floor space where I placed some other artifacts. I also placed that 3D model of a map like of Brindleton Bay up there that's like in a glass case. You'll see that once we move up to that 3rd floor room, but I felt like that was like a perfect museum item as well. So all in all, it's definitely not a limited pack build. I use a lot of packs, but I felt like it combined with so many different packs. At first, when this kit was first announced, I was a little bit worried about like where to build castles, how to blend it in with the rest of the game. The only thing I could come up with was a cute castle in Windenburg, European vibes. But then, like, thankfully, I also found that Glimmerbrook was a really good match. But at first, I was a little bit worried about, like, what... The only thing I could come up with was a European-style estate or castle or, like, ruins in Windenburg, since we already have something like that in that pack. But now that I actually have played around with it and looked at the stuff and experienced firsthand how well it combines with a lot of different packs, actually. I feel like it is very versatile and way more versatile than I initially thought it would be. So that was actually really nice. But here you can see we have this little bedroom area, and I was really excited about this vampire's bed. I thought that was so perfect. It looks so grand and old and Victorian and just perfect for this entire style that I was going for. So that's what I did. I also placed the creepy vampire's crib. I hate that crib in the best way possible. You know, it's so creepy looking. It's just a horror movie vibe to me for some reason. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed closing off this bedroom. I thought that was super realistic, just like a little room that you can peek in that is like in its original state, you know, with the original furniture. And then one thing I was actually really proud of, which is really silly, is the For Rent expansion pack came with a tiny little chamber pot. It is actually a potty for toddlers, but it looks like a chamber pot, and it is a chamber pot, and it's amazing. So I decided to size it up and place it in the bedroom. It is such a random little detail, but I was over the moon when I remembered that we had that in the game, and I was so excited about placing it in the bedroom. I know it's ridiculous, I know, but it is a little detail that I was very excited about. And then here we have this random little area on the side of the castle where I used rounded walls, which rounded walls are a pain, but I made it work in this build and I feel like it looks pretty good. And I really wanted to make this area look like a little chapel situation. At first, I was so bummed. I was like, this would have been perfect for horse stables, but I have a really tall foundation and like a staircase going up to the space. So that was not possible. That makes no sense. But otherwise, this would have been really cool for horse stables. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. So I decided to turn it into like a chapel situation. It isn't necessarily super functional, but you could very easily place a little wedding arch by the little church benches that I placed here. I placed a podium there from high school years, which was the only thing I felt like kind of looked like it belonged there. It's way too modern, but maybe it's used these days for like weddings or like, I don't know, really little ceremonies or something like that. But yeah, you could very easily go through and place like a wedding arch there. There's an organ there for some music. There is a round table on the side that you could replace for one of those round buffet tables and place a wedding cake on top. Like that sort of a situation is definitely possible. So I feel like with a little bit of tweaking and with a little bit of adjustments, it is definitely possible to turn this into like a medieval castle wedding type thing. It's maybe not the coziest thing in the world, but it is kind of cool, you know? Maybe this is the vibe for a wedding. I feel like it would be a cool vibe for like a vampire wedding or something like that. So that is definitely something you could think about and try to make work here in this build as well. And then we also have some bathrooms, of course, because we're going to have Sims visiting the place. So I decided to just turn this little room off of the kitchen area where I placed the grand piano and stuff. I have a small bathroom here, so I was able to place two separate little bathrooms in here. So that is all just for functionality. I use all the bathroom equipment from the Vampires pack because that was so perfect. Like I said, the Vampires pack combines perfectly with this kit. So that was exciting. And then here we have that little attic floor that is really small, but I was able to place that small Brindleton Bay map here in the middle, the case with the 3D model of the map, and then some more paintings here. I wasn't really sure what to do, what else to do with the space. So I placed a couple more paintings on the wall, and we also have another chess table here, like a sneaky little chess table for if your Sims want to play some chess there. I found some cool wall decorations, like some swords and things to place on the wall, so that's what I did. And then for the rest, this space isn't super functional, but it is nice. You know, we have some things to look at, some things to steal. Like if your Sim is a klepto and you need to steal stuff from a museum, I feel like this place has got you covered. There's a lot of items to steal here. And then I just made it prettier by placing some plants in the corner and some more artifacts on the wall, a little rug on the floor. And after that, I actually just moved on to the exterior because I definitely have a lot of balcony space here that I wasn't really sure what to do with and how to make it perfectly functional. I was thinking of trying to make this place functional as a park, but that required one, a grill, which is not the worst thing. I could probably hide a grill in the back somewhere, but it also requires playground equipment, and that was just not really gonna work. I could maybe try and place a swing set here. If anything, then I feel like maybe that would have been possible still, but I just really did not like the idea of that. And I also didn't really have a lot of space like around on the lot, like free space to put things. So I was like, you know what? It's just not gonna be a park. It's just gonna be a museum or a library. I feel like that's plenty. I feel like that's a lot of fun. We also have a couple of like little back porches or patios in the back here. So I placed some sneaky picnic tables and just some cute little areas to sit down. But that is basically going to be it for this build. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the castle in the game. I feel like these flowers, like these vines, definitely saved the build. It works so nicely. It makes it look like something from a fairy tale. And I don't know, I just really like how it came together. So it looks like it's a whole like big complicated build, but really it's not. It's quite simple. And what makes it look so detailed, honestly, is the details and like the texture on the windows and the wallpaper and the fences and stuff like that. So I feel like that is honestly working really nicely. I do really like how the landscaping came out. So over here we have a small pond with a bunch of like landscaping around it, some staircases going up to the front door, and then off over on this side there is a small fountain. We have the wishing well tucked away in the corner here, and then we obviously have these archways, which I think are so pretty. Camera is a little jumpy, but you know, we can get a better look at it this way. Look at how beautiful and detailed this is. It's just really well made. Around the back here, we have a small pathway, and there is a tiny little area here with a couple of easels, which are required items for museums. So I placed some sneaky easels in the back here, and then there's just this little walkway space over here and another archway, a back door, and then on this side is another small back porch as well with a picnic table for a cozy little lunch or picnic. And just look at how pretty these windows are. Tell me that that is not super well made. I am obsessed with it. Anyway, when we walk up these staircases here, there is this little front door area here with some banners and some decorations. And then through here is the entryway space where you can get your tickets for the museum. Honestly, there is not a whole lot going on in this room, but we have some magazines and some flyers and stuff. And then through this archway is the kitchen and dining. So this is that kitchen area that you can't use, you can only look at it. I tried to place a whole bunch of like random little items that I felt like would make sense in a kitchen like this. We have some base game stoves here, a little fireplace, and honestly, just a table in the middle with a whole bunch of random knickknacks, a whole lot of horse ranch items that I feel like work nicely. And then we have a nice painting here and a dining table in the middle here. This is actually usable for Sims. I felt like that would be nice. And then over here is another art corner with beautiful paintings and a grand piano. And through here are the sneaky bathrooms that are nice and functional. Then over here we have another archway where we have the living room space. So this also is functional for Sims. So it's like nice and decorative, but also still functional. I use this wallpaper. I don't think I've ever used this wallpaper before. It's from the Get Famous pack, and I feel like it just works really nicely in here. There's a fireplace back here and some more random artifacts and things, a little nook here in the tower with a fireplace, and of course a ladder going up into the tower as well. Then through here is that like archway area leading you into the chapel. So over here is a chapel, and like I said, you can easily delete this podium thing and place a wedding arch, and you can have like a really cool castle themed wedding. There is an organ in the back here, some additional paintings for your Sims to look at, and then this round table, you can very easily swap this out for like a round buffet table and have that be functional for a wedding, for example. Then going upstairs, this is where we have the library and the bedroom. So over here is the functional library space. bookcase. I feel like it looks pretty cool. It definitely looks like something that could belong in a museum. And these bookcases were such a lifesaver. I think these are from Strangerville. Some more random little artifacts over here. And we have a seating area here with some more bookcases and a functional chess table. A sneaky additional desk in the back here because I needed another one to have it be functional as a library. And then over here is the bedroom that you can't use, you can only look at it. A vampire's bed, a little crib, a vanity as well. I'm obsessed with this dresser or wardrobe from Vampires. It is so well made and it was just so perfect for this room as well. And my chamber pot. I'm so excited about that. I'm so sorry. Then there is another staircase going up to this little floor here. It's only small, but we have some more art for your Sims to look at or for your klepto Sims to steal. You know, just some paintings here, the map here, another chess table, and a really nice big door leading onto this balcony where we have some benches to just enjoy the castle, enjoy the view, and there's also a telescope up here. And then if you want to make it to the top floor, like the top rooftop, you're going to have to climb this ladder in the tower, and then you'll make it up to this floor. I didn't really want to place anything else up here because it was just kind of ruining my screenshots, which I know is ridiculous, but if you wanted to place something else for your Sims to do up here, that is definitely possible. I just went with a couple of telescopes because I thought that was cool. And then of course there is also this balcony area over here with a bunch of just like benches and plants. It's honestly just vibes. There is not a whole lot to do up here, but I feel like it would make for some pretty screenshots, you know, in gameplay. But yeah, that is basically it for this castle. So this castle museum and library is up on the gallery if you want to use it. It is up on the gallery as a museum, but like I said, it's also functional as a library. I built it on a 40 by 30 in the world of Glimmerbrook, so if you want to place it in your game, then that is where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download this build off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can also follow me on Instagram, Threads, and on TikTok if you like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you want to be notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/SimmarySims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!